Of all the different species of crocodiles in the world, Africa's Nile crocodile is the most dangerous and deadly. They can grow up to 20 feet long, weigh as much as a car, and bite as hard as a Tyrannosaurus rex. Crocodiles are prehistoric creatures that have been around since the time of dinosaurs, but we still don't know a lot about them because studying them up close on land is treacherous and underwater has always thought to be impossible. As we reported last March, 2 wildlife filmmakers in Botswana and southern Africa have found a way to get up close to crocs in the murky water of the Okavango Delta. The images they've captured are some of the most remarkable wildlife scenes we've ever seen.
The story will continue in a moment.
The Okavango Delta has been called one of the last Edens on Earth. The hundreds of miles of winding waterways and untouched islands are home to some of Africa's most exotic and enchanting wildlife. It's also home to tens of thousands of Nile crocodiles. For the last 5 years, Brad Bestelink and his wife Andy Crawford have been risking their lives, filming these man-eaters in the most daring way imaginable, following the crocodiles into their underwater lairs. It is a dark and foreboding world down there. Visibility is sometimes only a few feet, and you can't even see the crocodiles until you catch a glimpse of their long rows of razor-sharp white teeth. How did you know you could do this?
We were next to a ledge, and this crocodile swam out and actually swam between us, and then settled on the ground next to us.
What first went through your mind?
Well, just
Bubbles.
lots of bubbles and just panic.
The panic was understandable. Nile crocodiles are Africa's largest and most feared predator. But surprisingly, this one didn't attack. Brad and Andy have been getting closer and closer to these creatures ever since.
You do get a different sense of them. They look very beautiful underwater. They're dappled and gold and black. And you see them as more timid, I think. Beyond the teeth and the terror, there's this incredible creature that is actually an amazing animal in its own right.
You actually think they're beautiful?
I do think they're beautiful. I never used to think they were beautiful, but this is a whole different view of them.
This is the view most people have of Nile crocodiles. Patient and stealthy killers, they grab their prey, drag them into the water, then drown and dismember them. And it's not just animals they eat. Hundreds of people in Africa are killed each year while bathing, laundering clothes, or fishing along the water's edge. Nile crocodiles are now protected in Botswana, but Brad and Andy believe more needs to be known about their behavior so that humans can better avoid them. They've invited Dr. Adam Britton, an Australian zoologist, to dive with them. When you first heard about what they were doing here, what did you think?
Look, I'll be honest, when I first heard about this, my instant, immediate reaction was, that sounds crazy.
Dr. Britton has been studying crocodiles for more than 18 years.
I describe crocodiles like Ferraris. They're just extremely finely honed creatures. They're just perfectly adapted to do what they do. They're the smartest of all the reptiles.
Britton is building a genetic database on Nile crocodiles in the Delta to better understand how to protect them. For years, the only way to study them up close was to capture them.
Okay, croc on.
So once I've got him by the mouth, I plate him up, eh?
It is difficult, dangerous work.
Whoa. 1, 2, on board! What's up, look?
Sit on him. Pin his legs between his knees as well. He's got no leverage. That's it.
So what are you doing now?
I'm just going to cover his eyes so that he can't see what we're doing.
So he's not injured at all?
No, he's not injured, apart from his pride, perhaps.
This crocodile is not sedated. It's simply trying to conserve its energy. Why are you doing this?
If we can get a sample of all the DNA from every single crocodile across the Delta, then we can start to build up a picture then of exactly not only where these crocodiles came from, but how they're moving within the Delta.
Because right now you don't really know that.
No one really knows anything about that at all.
When you actually see the crocodiles up close, there is a beauty to them. Often in pictures, they're covered in mud. They look very drab, but up close you see the variety of color not just on the top, but also on the bottom. And the touch, it's really, there's a softness to them, particularly on the feet like this. The claws are about an inch and a half, but the pads of the feet are actually incredibly soft. Capturing crocodiles is stressful for the animal and for us. Putting them back in the water is just as hard.
So just keep pressing down, Anderson, on the top of the skull. That's good. Okay, noose ready to go.
Tape ready to go?
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Diving with Brad and Andy has given Dr. Adam Britton a whole new understanding of crocodiles and their underwater world.
You're in the water. You've got the current washing over you. You can feel the changes in temperature. You suddenly think, this is what it's like to be a crocodile. This crocodile is experiencing these same things.
Britton has actually begun to take DNA samples from crocodiles underwater, cutting off pieces of their tails. And incredibly, they don't seem to mind. Diving with Nile crocodiles is only possible in the winter months, when the water is chilly and the animals are sluggish. These cold-blooded reptiles are far too dangerous to dive with in the summer.
The crocs are much more active. They're much more inclined to want to predate.
Predate, attack.
Attack,
Eat.
yeah. They want to go and eat something.
So 2 months from now, 3 months from now, you would not dive in these waters?
No, I don't. I don't want to die. Make no mistake. I do this because I get an understanding of how these predators work.
Brad and Andy offer to take me diving with them, explaining it's crucial to get off the surface of the water as quickly as possible, because that's where the crocs attack.
That's the most important thing, because as soon as you're underwater, we believe the crocodiles don't know what we are. They don't recognize us as prey.
You say we believe. Do you know?
We don't know for sure. We can never know how they're perceiving us. We're trying to establish how they perceive us.
Again, you're not really building my confidence here by saying you're not sure. What do I need to know before going in?
Well, we believe you're safe. With all that uncertainty, we believe you're safe.
Safe? Take a look at a recent encounter they had with a crocodile.
You see how close he comes to me?
And look at the eye.
Yeah.
And look at those teeth. Those are huge.
Yeah.
This croc was 12 feet long and weighed about 1,400 pounds.
And there's a diver. Watch what he does.
My gosh. But because the croc's moving, it doesn't even really sense that diver there.
It didn't even know that he was there. And you'll see how it just goes. It hits his light. It squashes his light.
So it just thinks that's some debris or tree or something.
Yeah.
That's amazing. We set off early the next day. It's an hour upriver to a spot that has a lot of underwater caves. 3 divers will go in with me: Brad, cameraman Richard Yawn, and Andy. She'll be the safety diver watching our backs.
I'll let you know that there's a croc if I see it first.
The sign for crocodile is that.
What's that?
It's the international sign for crocodile.
That's the sign for well, it's our sign for crocodile. So if Brad does this.
I didn't
then
learn that in
we
scuba school. They didn't teach that.
As we're going to give you one of these to dive with. Makes you feel better. It also gives you some
Makes
barrier.
you feel better?
That's
That's really all it's for, is just to make me feel better.
Mainly that, and to actually anchor yourself in the current.
Because no matter what, you do not want to
You
drift onto
don't
the
want to
ground.
drift onto the crocodile.
As soon as the crocs see our boat, they disappear. We hope they've gone to the bottom to hide in their underwater caves, but they might still be floating near the surface, waiting to attack. It's a very strange feeling before you go diving, because you know there are crocodiles in this area, but you don't see any on the surface. The problem is, as the boat comes in, any motion on the surface does tend to attract crocodiles, so you want to try to get here and in the water and to the bottom as quickly as possible. We suit up, do our final checks, and then take the plunge.
Anderson, Richard? Yep. We'll go with Anderson.
Yeah, okay.
Anderson, good?
Go.
Okay.
We get to the river bottom as quickly as we can. It's only about 15 feet deep. Thankfully, the visibility is good, and we find ourselves in a stunning underwater garden with overhanging ledges, walls of papyrus, submerged trees, and lilies.
We know there's at least one crocodile in this area because we saw the ripples on the water. We believe it's gone into a nearby cave system. So we're going to go into the caves right now to try to see if we can find it.
It's eerie and intimidating down here, The only light comes from our cameras, and it's easy to lose your way. Brad signals that he sees a crocodile. At first, I can't see anything. But then, out of the darkness, on the floor of the cave, just as Brad warned, I see that gleaming row of white teeth.
To finally see one, it's amazing. There's a beauty to it, but it's also incredibly intimidating. You really have the sense when you're so close to it, just how strong it is. And it looks right at you. And you know, and it knows, that it could attack you at any moment. And there's nothing you can do about it.
The crocodile disappears into the darkness. We push further into the cave. It gets narrower and more claustrophobic as we move deeper into the gloom. Then, lurking on a nearby ledge, there's another crocodile.
This crocodile is about 9 feet long. Its tail, though, makes up about half its length. Crocs have the amazing ability to actually slow their heart rate down. They can close off one of the valves in their heart, which stops the flow of blood to some of its organs. It allows them to stay underwater for hours at a time. It's amazing how close the crocodile is. You can't tell if it's watching you or not.
Suddenly, the crocodile backs away. It's not taking its eyes off me. I have no idea what it's going to do. My heart is pounding. Neither of us moves. Then, with a flick of his tail, he's off. We move further through the undergrowth and find yet another crocodile. This time, it's facing me head-on. On the stick I'm holding, I have a small camera, and I move it closer to try and get a better shot. I know I should be terrified, but the truth is, it's actually thrilling.
It's extraordinary to be able to get so close. Literally looking at it right in the face, staring face to face. Crocodile's front vision is not very good. So this is actually a relatively safe place to be. The crocodile is also laying low, which is a good sign. If it felt threatened, it would rise up on its feet. That would be an indication it might be ready to strike.
When it finally takes off, we start following it. The crocodile is kicking up so much sand and sediment, we can't see where we're going.
We're trying to pursue the crocodile right now. I can't tell how large it is. Its tail is so powerful, I'm almost right on top of it. I could reach out right now and just touch the tail. But I'm worried if I do that, it'll somehow turn around. It just doesn't seem like a good idea. But I gotta say, it's so tempting.
The croc is moving so fast, we can't keep up for long. It's time to surface and find the boat.
That was amazing. We got right. I was right on top of it.
Eh?
I was right on its tail. I mean, I could have touched it.
Yeah, no. And then he turns around.
And then he turns around. I swear there was a moment where I thought, Jesus, he could just attack, and there's nothing I could do about it.
Absolutely, but did you ever feel like he was going to attack?
No. Well, maybe a little bit, actually.
I've dived with great white sharks before, but in terms of numbers of people killed each year, Nile crocodiles are far more deadly. Once ruthlessly hunted, still vilified as mindless killing machines, we can finally observe them as they really are. Perfectly evolved denizens of the dark. Ancient creatures, now, for the first time, fully visible in the light.
Go to 60minutesovertime.com for the dangerous croc dives you didn't see.